Hey guys, Tenneiyl the Undying here with my Part 2 Alpha review of Blizzard Entertainment's new game, Heroes of the Storm. Today, Part 2 will be focusing on the gameplay of the game, and I will be playing a versus match with Malfurion Stormrage. He is a support character, so he mainly focuses on healing, although he does have some offensive abilities. There are also, I guess, your big main damage dealers and some that go a little bit in between in different types of characters. So I've left the in-game sound in today just to, I guess, lend to the atmosphere of the gameplay. I find all the in-game sounds pretty cohesive, fairly enjoyable, so I thought I'd leave it in. The battleground I'll be doing today is the Cursed Hollow, so collecting tributes, cursing your enemies, and consequently having cursed forts and minions. I really enjoy this map. I've found it a lot of fun the couple times I've been playing it. It focuses on collecting the tributes and kind of trying to double that up with mercenaries and absolutely stomping your enemies. The loading screens right now are a little bit long, but because this game is in alpha development, I assume that Blizzard will be looking into this issue and rectifying it in some way. I've cut a little bit out of the loading screen here just so we can hop into it. So the game starts, everybody at the base, I suppose. You start in your little town, everyone loads in, and you start with your talent, your initial talent. As you can see, and as I mentioned, I believe, in my previous Part 1 review, Blizzard have stuck with a pretty typical UI. At first, at least coming from games like Diablo 3 and World of Warcraft, I found it a little bit hard to use. I haven't tried rebinding any keys, and I'm not sure if you can, but the Q, W, E, and that fourth slot there is R were a little bit awkward for me, but it's no big deal. You do get used to it, and then you click, A to start attacking, and your right click is your walking, your left click is your general select stuff. So I guess there's a bit of a learning curve, a little bit of a get used to it curve. There are some times when I find myself just kind of standing there like, what do I do? Oh, I have to click this button. Another thing that I guess have to work on is my mana. At least regeneration. You can get healing wells and they help regenerate part of your resource, and then as you level up you get talents. My first talent that I took helps increase my mana regen as I go along, so that's a bit of a boost in itself. So I guess you've got to play a little bit conservatively. It's not something you can just kind of go in and spam. This game was actually really good for my team, and we did really well with collecting tributes as shown right here on this particular map. So I guess we did pretty good. There was a little bit of, I guess, a test on my skills or a test on my getting used to this game, but I think I coped pretty well, and I found healing a lot of fun. Damage dealing is kind of interesting too, and I find myself often torn between the two. But overall, nice and smooth, and once you kind of get back into it, I hadn't played for a few days before I made this video, you're right to go again. And you're all good with, it's a pretty easy game to pick back up, I suppose is what I'm saying. So a lot of the gameplay in these maps bases itself around being strategic, not overexerting yourself or completely abandoning your teammates. There's a lot of, I guess, a big focus on team atmosphere and team playing here, and actually it was good in that I suppose there's not too many people playing the alpha, in that not a lot of people have been invited, so your pick of players isn't huge, but this group that I had here was really fantastic, and as you can see there, we worked well on getting our mercenaries. We doubled up a few times on cursed tributes. You have to collect 3 of them, and towers become useless and enemies have 1 hit point, except for the enemy heroes, and their minions. So we doubled up pretty well on things like that. Played pretty strategically, which is a big thing for this game. Strategy lends itself, I guess team play lends itself to a win. You've really just got to try and not, I guess, gallivant off on your own and assume that you're going to win. So there are a range of different ways you can communicate with your team. Generally you can press default key G and click an area, and it will either tell someone that you're on the way, you get an option to do that, or if you click on something specific like a tribute or an enemy tower or fort, it'll say Tenneiyl wants to attack fort, for example. And then everybody kind of groups up and goes and does the objective. On top of that, you can also type, I suppose, which is a tad bit slower but nonetheless effective, or you could hop into some sort of voice communication, talk over vent of course, or Skype or TeamSpeak or whatever it is you prefer using. But so far I've only played just with the, press G sort of deal, and everyone runs to wherever you've tagged, and it's working out pretty well. So Blizzard have done good in allowing that kind of communication in this game. It definitely helps reinforce that kind of team atmosphere. So a big part of this game is also cursing your enemies. As I said, it's definitely an objective-based map, this one in particular, and I think Blizzard have done well mixing objectives, team play, and I guess your own solo abilities all together. There's all sorts of little objectives in the map, and some maps have different things. There is one map where you need to collect coins to pay for something to bombard your enemies. There's one where you need to go down into mines, which is featured on the previous review, and collect skulls to power your golem. So all in all, it's a really fun mix of strategy, team play, objective-based gameplay, and general kind of womp stomp and win everything, which is a lot of fun, I've found. So thank you for watching, and stay tuned for part 3 of this review series, and don't forget to subscribe.